Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final ever episode of Challenger Chat. As you may have heard, I now have a new job at a new publication, which unfortunately means I will not be able to carry on my Challenger Series content that I know everyone loves. So I couldn't just leave it like that. I had to do one final episode for the European Challenger Series playoffs, and to do that, I've enlisted the help of three special guests. First up is Gilius, the jungler for Gamers 2. How are you doing, Gilius?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Yeah, you don't have to lie about the massive technical problems we've been having.
Yeah.
Uh, and next up, who's been with us as well through all these issues, is for the first time on ever on camera. Actually, I forgot because this is like our first meeting. Is veteran, the
What up?
analyst, not coach of Origin. How are you doing, veteran?
Yeah, I'm doing good. You got it right this time.
Yeah, it's
Feel good?
perfect. And
Brilliant.
filling
Flawless.
in for someone who's caused us massive problems.
Best of
Uh,
the
is the Dignitas EU mid laner Sencux, who's been on the show before. It's great to have you back. How are you doing today?
Thank you, man. I'm doing fine.
Really? You're doing fine? Because
Yeah.
the first topic we're going to talk about
Oh my lord.
probably means you shouldn't be doing
Oh.
fine.
Smooth
Yeah.
as shit, man.
Hateful games, boys.
And I'm sure, as Sencux has just given away, that is the Dignitas EU drama that's happened recently. If you don't know what happened, a brief summary is that Dignitas EU were basically forced to surrender their playoff spot because of the Riot age rules. Sencux here, and I believe your top laner Wonderwear are not of LCS age. And you know what? Now that Sencux is on the show, we'll just go straight to him and see what he has to say about that. What do you think about that, Sencux? How do you feel?
I don't know why this rule is there. Like, it's so fucking dumb. I'm not gonna lie.
Whoa.
It's so,
Whoa.
like, okay, last year you could be whatever age and play Coke League. You could be 5 years old and be challenged and play Coke. It didn't really matter. Like, as long as your mom would sign the contract. But now apparently you have to be 16 to just play in Coke League. And apparently to play the playoffs you have to be 17 or LCS legal for the next split. Which I didn't know about. Apparently our manager knew about it. Like, he had obviously read the rules, but I didn't get informed about it. So yeah, I thought we qualified for... When we beat RG 2-0, I thought we qualified for playoffs, but apparently not, because our only subs was Fake and Saitan. And Fake is
Yeah,
like...
tell us why Zaitan didn't want to sub, Sencux. Go ahead.
Okay, so we could have Voidal and Saitans, and what they could play mid, and then what Fake could go top. He's like Plat 1 or something. And like
Nice.
we weren't allowed to get new players because apparently that was like you had to do it within the 16th of May or something like that, like in the middle of not May, March. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. And then we were forced to FF, and I can say there's more salty information coming up soon.
Okay. Well, yeah. The reason that Riot seems to think this is okay is because of... Well, actually, no, the reason the rule is put in is because of the new rule that was implemented at the start of the season, which is the quite controversial as well, the auto-relegation, auto-promotion system, so that when you're playing in the playoffs of the Challenger Series, you are, in fact, playing in a makeshift LCS promotion tournament because of that automatic spot. And I'm going to swing this one over to Gilius now, who will be fighting, of course, in the upcoming playoffs for that auto-promotion relegation spot. And I want to get your thoughts on that rule in general, the automatic promotion relegation. What you think about it? Is it better than the old system? Worse?
I like it. The new rule. Sorry. I like the new rule because it puts a lot of pressure on the bad LCS teams to perform really good and get out of the auto relegation spot. And it gives the best challenger team the possibility to go instantly to LCS without any match. And yeah, I think it's good.
But what do you think about the issues it causes now with the age thing? Because obviously now there are two obviously fairly talented 16-year-old players, because they managed to get to the playoffs, who now can't participate in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they should inform the players about this age rules earlier, or just like tell them that they really need subs for the promotion tournament. And yeah, it's just a bad situation, I guess.
And although I don't see why you would have any specific thoughts to add on this one, veteran, I will let you chime in if you have anything you feel like you want to add for your. This is the first thing you're basically going to say on with your face on the camera, so try and make it intelligent.
The first thing I actually ever said was that you actually got it right this time. Second thing I'm going to say is that it doesn't really make much sense to me that you let them play the whole of the regular split and then you don't let them play playoffs. That makes no sense. It also messes up, in some ways, a lot of the prep work that you can do, because there are a lot of teams now that we've actually also spectated that we know that the PB for, that will then they'll be subbing out their players and will be against almost a completely new team going into the playoffs. And that was initially going to be a bit of a problem for us when we were going to be actually playing against Dig. Like, so who am I actually playing against now? Like, what am I actually researching here? I'm not too sure. In a way, it's a bit of a relief that we're playing against RG for that, even though. Like,
well,
we
you
haven't
dropped the
given that
news
much time.
bomb actually that we were supposed to go on to talk about next round.
I thought we already said that.
Well, yeah.
Can I
fine,
say
whatever.
something? Hello?
Yeah, go for
Yes,
it.
Sencux, feel
I
free to
don't know.
chime in.
Okay, about the rule, right? Like, it's okay that I think that it's not okay, but it's fine that they don't want us to play the playoffs because of this free LCS spot thing. But at least allow us to change the players, because we actually had 2
Yeah.
subs ready, but we are not allowed to change them because of that rule. And like normally Riot would say, like the other times they said like, okay, whatever, we will change the rules. It doesn't matter. We just want you to play. But now it's like this new admin doesn't really give a fuck. If
Wow.
you're
Getting a lot more regimented with the rules, I guess, could be expected, but people didn't seem to be informed or something. Like,
Well,
some
I
people-
feel like you brought up an interesting point, veteran, before when you said this that you disagree with them. The way that they're allowed to play out the entire season
Yeah.
and not play in the playoffs, it kind of makes a point now is that if you're a challenger team and you want to make a serious push for the promotion spot, why would you bring on an underage player?
Yeah.
There's just no reason. So now we're getting to a situation where these players who aren't 17 years old are not only not allowed to play in the LCS, but also kind of not even allowed to play in the Challenger Series. Because any intelligent organization would say, well, we would rather pick up a team that won't have to sub out their players. Do you agree on that, anyone, or is that just me thinking that?
that was the problem for me in the beginning, honestly. Like I didn't like I got a last call from Vince to join SK Prime. Like I didn't really expect to play Challenger Series to split.
I think they should just allow the teams to change the players in the end, and it's all good.
Yeah, I agree. Like if that rule would been there that we were allowed to change players, it wouldn't really matter. Like just change players and play the playoffs, whatever.
Okay. Well, we seem to be all settled on that. The evil Riot are ruining players' lives again.
Can I just say that I think that you do kind of need to maintain some sort of consistency between the teams that are playing in the split and the teams that are actually playing in the playoffs. Just, I kind of do disagree that they've put these rules in that seem to necessitate that some teams are going to have to become different teams when they go into the playoffs. That's bad for both that team and the team that they're going to play against. I mean, they can do so much more prep work on Origin than Origin could do on them, for example.
So you just think
Yeah,
these
I
players
agree,
should be
but-
allowed to play in the playoffs regardless of age? Is that what you think, veteran?
I think if they're allowed to play in the split, they should be allowed to play in the playoffs. I think
Yeah,
they should
exactly.
be consistent.
I think that is a fair enough question as well. Yeah, that's what I was saying with my previous point about.
Because it makes no sense why we're allowed to play the
Yeah.
regular split. When it comes to playoffs, we can't even play. We might as well just leave. Like, I don't know.
So it's going to be interesting to see if Riot do anything about that in the future, because effectively now you could be shunning underage players out of the Challenger Series and the LCS. Both of their official tournaments could be screwed. And the guest that was originally supposed to come on, Perks, is a player who's kind of somewhat got around that, playing with Millennium outside of the Challenger Series and going to independent tournaments. But if they wanted to play the Challenger Series, they'd be a little bit screwed. But anyway, we're going to move on, and because of the ruling, this is a great segue, guys. I'm going to make it perfect. Because of the ruling, Dignitas EU can't play the Challenger Series playoffs, and that's news that's just come out by the time we've published
Oh,
this.
is it official?
No, yes, by the time we would have published this video, but not at this very point.
Oh,
So
that's what I
Sencux,
was
you've just
gonna
screwed yourself up a little bit, but it's fine.
What? I'm just asking if
We
I
can
can talk
edit.
about
We
it.
can edit, right? We can edit.
Yeah,
right?
that's fine. No,
Yeah,
we'll leave it up,
sure.
actually. Sencux, you've
Fuck.
already been abusive anyway. You're going to get fined by Riot for this performance.
I've
It's like,
already-
Riot are stupid, man. Nick
Uh.
Allen's just watching with a notepad. Like, okay, that's another $2,000.
I make so much money, man. They can just get it all.
And that means that rather than Dignitas EU versus Origin, we will in fact be having Reason Gaming versus Origin. And personally, if I may go first, I think that has absolutely no impact on the eventual result of that match. Anyway, considering the substitute situation, even if Dignitas had been able to get their subs, I don't feel like they would have overcome Origin. But feel
Wow.
free if
They took
anyone
a
wants
game
to
off
say
us in
anything.
Millennium.
What? We took a game off them.
Yeah.
The game was assembly qualifier. Come on.
Yeah.
No, go on, Sencux. Go on, make your point, Sencux. Do you actually believe that this changes anything? Do you think Reason have more of a chance, less of a
Oh,
chance?
that way? I don't know. We obviously won against them, so there's a chance. I don't know.
Am I allowed to bring up your coach?
My
'Cause-
coach?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
Well, like I think with Foscarin as the new coach of them, actually they were looking a lot better, like about 20 times better than they were looking beforehand. To be honest, the final games, like honestly I didn't really expect you guys to win that whatsoever. Like, but you actually managed to pull off both games.
We picked Syndra. We never played a scrim. I haven't scrimmed with
Yeah.
it for like 4 months, but
That-
whatever.
What the fuck?
That was because like Victor was disabled, right? And so you had
Yeah,
to.
I had actually 4 bans against me. One from Riot.
What's good against the blunt, guys? Sinter, go! I saw this on the VOD once. I've got this, lad. But yeah, you guys are actually pulling out of the wins, like, surprised me. And I was actually quite nervous, like, thinking about this game and prepping for this game, especially because I wasn't entirely sure who I was going to end up playing against. And, like, I had some vague ideas who you guys are targeting. But, like, that covered with how much change appeared to have happened in your team in such short a time means that I feel you could have probably pulled it off with subs if you actually got decent subs, not like Fakey and like mid lane Zaitan or whatever you're gonna end up with.
Okay, but what do we think about Reason? Because it's Reason that are going to be playing. What do you think about their chances? Because they obviously didn't have a very impressive Challenger Series split. I don't know their exact record. I know I should do that because I'm running the show and I'm supposed to be the Challenger guy. So I'll just load up Esportspedia and look at their record right now. 4-6. So it wasn't great, but it wasn't. No, wait, what was I saying? It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't that great either. Meanwhile, Origin obviously spanking people all over the park, only dropping that one game. So do we think Reason Gaming has a chance? Is there anyone here who believes in Reason Gaming?
Not after how they played against us, no.
Wow. So we're saying
They always have a chance.
Yeah,
Well,
of
yeah,
course.
everybody
It's a
has
best
a
of 3, right? Best of 3?
Yeah,
yeah. So
Yeah.
what do they have to do? What do Reason Gaming have to do to win this game? And Veteran, I guess you probably shouldn't answer this question.
Reason, listen up, all right? So this is your game plan.
Not mate.
So,
So we'll leave this one over to we'll throw it to Gilius first, and then we can see if Sencux wants to throw in afterwards.
I think Origin must have a really bad day and Reason Gaming a really good day. Then it could become a bit close. But I don't think Origin will lose.
Okay. You going for a 2-0 to Origin?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and Sencux, anything Reason Gaming can do in this matchup, having played them so recently as well.
No, I feel like Origin is stronger than every single point, so they're gonna 2-0 kind of easy. Maybe a long game, I don't know, but whatever. I don't think they're gonna have that many problems.
Okay, and Veteran, I assume I won't even ask you because you're going to say the 2-0, obviously. I love asking people from teams actually, like, what do you think is going to be the score of your game? Because they never want to say 2-0. They always want to be like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to be too confident.
I don't want to be too confident, but we'll win.
Whoa, big talk.
That's not being confident, though. We will win. Yeah, okay.
Wow. Anyway, we'll move on from that game then, because it seems pretty one-sided. Move on to the next game that's going to be happening, one that our friend here, Gilius, is involved in, and that is former Lowland Lions. Obviously, they left their organization recently, versus Gamers 2. And I guess, well, if I had to start with that one, I would say Gamers 2 pulling out the victory there, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than Reason versus Origin. What do you think? Sencux first.
It really depends. Like, Gamers 2 are stronger overall, but if like Koskio also gets really fit, apparently, or somehow, I don't know how, probably Koskio that has to be fit because Smith is performing really good at the moment. I don't know, I really don't see a little winning though. Like, their bot lane is just so much weaker. Their jungler is weaker. Koskio is maybe
Yeah, you
even
kiss
a bit better.
ass. If Gilius wasn't here, you'd be saying the opposite, right? If we had Kirai on the show.
I don't care who's sitting on the show. It's
Well,
the truth. But
I think everyone agrees that within Lowland Lions, the power players on their team are both CosQ and Morsu, right? So do you not think there's any circumstance in which either
but
of them
thing
carries
is,
the game?
like,
I mean, if we take it back, to I think was it the first week of the Challenger Series when CosQ and Morsu absolutely spanked
I don't want to hear
Dignitas EU.
spank me. I don't want to hear that guy spank me, man. I don't want to hear that shit. Because that's not true. I was 3-0-2 and my top lane, actually my bot lane was dying 2v2 to their top and support.
Right.
All the-
Okay.
And with that, their fate was sealed.
Exactly.
If Crazy Caps is watching, you boosted.
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
that game when they killed them with Jax. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Jax just got 2 kills within like 15 minutes in a lane swap, and the game was over.
Yeah.
Well, they certainly have surprised. Okay. So here's where we are, because obviously they actually finished the regular season with a higher record than Gamers 2.
Oh,
So I guess
with the
maybe
team
we
points,
can
they
drop
were
that down.
game. Right,
Okay.
They were second overall, though, weren't they?
Officially, yes, Lowland Lions were second, and officially they did win more games than Gamers 2. Well, regardless of whether or not they played against a Teemo and whoever else. But so why have Lowland Lions surprised everyone? Because I think everyone in my preseason power rankings, I personally put them last, and everyone else I spoke to put them either 5th or last.
Can I say something?
Yes, you absolutely can.
I
That's why you're
think
here.
nobody. Let's say it like this: nobody gave a fuck about the league. People only cared about being in the top 4, and the playoffs is what matters. The league is honestly so useless. Like
Not even about
the rankings in the league are pretty useless.
not even about getting the higher ranking for seedings, even.
Yeah, that could
I
be
don't
helpful,
think much.
But
Well,
not
because,
much. Yeah,
because
it's only
obviously,
booster, like.
if you get that 4th place, then you're obviously going to be playing the number 1 team.
Yeah, then
So you've got to say top 3 at least was the.
Yeah,
part
but
that
then
everyone was
like
looking
if you lose, you get into the losers bracket. So like, isn't there like isn't like a round robin system?
for. Let me have a look.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you play the 3rd place match,
Yeah.
but you don't get a chance to fight for that
but
automatic promotion.
Being top 3 is
thing is-
like yeah.
yeah, the thing as well, like with LLL, people just underestimated them. Like I don't think many teams prepared that much for them. Like we didn't. Not only like one day before.
We actually did.
Yeah,
Do you think they're as
you
good?
played Cockmore mid and no, that wasn't against.
No,
that was
no,
against
that
Mars.
was
Yeah.
Mars.
That's
Two out Lowland Lions.
yeah.
Do you think they're as good as their record seems to indicate, or
No.
have they gotten a little bit? What's the word? Lucky? I guess you can't really say lucky. They
They
were underestimated. Perhaps.
They
Yeah,
were very disciplined in their use of Morsu in split push a lot, and they just like destroyed teams through that weren't. I don't want to say not trying as hard, but that weren't able to respond to split pushes like that really well, and like even Origin like fell victim to that in the last game there. They actually they got 2 inhibs down or 3 inhibs down or
Yeah,
what? They
and
got
one
all the
no,
inhib
it's
towers
2
down.
inits down and 1 free.
2
Yeah.
instant, yeah. Like they were an incredibly disciplined team. That's why they are where they are, and a lot of that is on the back of Morsu. But I don't think they're a bad team by any means. I think they are as good as their record shows they are, and I hope that if what Gilius is saying that like other teams maybe didn't care so much about where they were so long as they were top 4, maybe we'll see that every other team will be as tight as LLL have been when they've had to pull out the win in difficult circumstances, and then I think they won't be like as high up in the standings anymore if every team played like that all the time. But right now, I think they thoroughly deserve where they placed.
Well,
incredible
now
teams.
for the first time, I think ever, we will see this lineup in a best of 3, and that's what counts, is that they'll be playing a best of 3 against these Gamers 2, and I'm sure Gamers 2 are preparing now more so than they perhaps did against Mouse.
Yes.
So we'll throw it over to Veteran first. What is your prediction for Lowland Lions and Gamers 2?
I think whoever wins the first game wins the series. If LLL wins the first game, it will be 2-0 to LLL, and if Gamers 2 win the first game, it will be 2-1 to Gamers 2.
Okay, well, you're going to explain yourself now. You can't just say
You what?
random. You
I don't
can't
want
just
to
say
influence
random shit
Gilius.
like that and then
I
not
don't want to
explain it.
influence Gilius too much, to be honest.
Gilius, go put your hands over your ears like that and go la 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 la.
Yeah, on the headset.
You don't want to influence Gilius, the guy that plays on EU West, and once had like 10 people name change to I am a Gilius.
Oh yes.
I even know which Gilius I'm talking.
I don't think Gilius is affected much by
What are you
people.
trying to get? Like, come on. I
We've lost Sencux. I think Sencux, were you one of the people that name changed?
No.
Yes.
No?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I don't want to say
No.
I think this two will go wrong to bring up the 2-1.
I think
So
we're
the-
past it now. Gilius has a very stern look on his face, so we'll just ignore that. We'll keep going, guys. Come on.
I'd say that the first game, if LLL win, it will be a comeback off of a strong early game by Gamers 2. But if Gamers 2 win the first game, it will be another shitstorm.
Okay, but you didn't explain your previous
I don't
statement.
see why they'll lose game 2.
No,
I don't
you
think so.
have to explain it.
But then he'll correct it.
I'm lost. I'm lost, and we'll move past veterans' insane ramblings.
I
We'll
just put it on Twitter and no one asks me to justify it. They just accept it. And then
we'll just let him sit in the corner, rocking and like reading off of some prophecy, like it will be 2-1.
then
but
it was 2-1, and then I'll face him and I'll abuse that thing in all tweets.
God, Sencux, please just end this and tell me your prediction, and try and keep it simple, not like if this happens, this will also happen over here, and this down here.
Well, it can happen, you know. Like, okay, I think it's gonna be the 2-0 or 2-1 to Gamers 2. 2-1
Okay.
if Mosu gets like one game
I've got
when
faith in
he
LLL.
get a good start.
You have no faith in LLL, Sencux?
Yeah, I said they get one game, right?
Oh well, I don't think that really counts. It's still a loss.
Like,
there,
of course they can
Sencux.
win if Mosu gets like.
Obviously, I know you don't know
perfect
how
games,
best of threes work because you're not actually allowed to play in them anymore. So, but they still lose
Wow.
in that situation. And
I
Gilius,
think
come
this-
on, now we have to ask you, and we have to see you squirm. Like, oh no. When in your head you're just saying, yeah, we're gonna fuck them up, but
Of course,
outside you're like, no, maybe 2-1, maybe close game. You know,
Oh,
we're both
no.
good.
It
No.
will be 2-0 and a really short series as well.
Wow.
Whoa!
Everyone come back to this VOD when we see Lowland Lions get automatically promoted to the LCS. We'll come back to this VOD.
Now,
This is like the with the video like oh.
No. Yeah. If you watch the VODs when we played with them in the Challenger series, you can see that there's a big difference.
I agree. Like the bot lane difference is way too big. Like,
Okay.
Like Cosq is good, but yeah, if you have one player, you can't win a game. I don't even think Mosu is that good. His champion pool is really small.
Yeah, his champion
Yeah.
was
Yeah, yeah.
really
he
good.
can be manned out.
Can
right?
Morsu play a tank? Is that possible?
Most
that
plays
matter?
I've
Maokai,
actually been
no, no,
away.
no.
I've actually not been
Right.
watching Challenger for a couple of weeks because I've
I
been on
don't think so.
holiday. So when I left, it was just Jackson Fiora. So
If
is anything
Mosu runs
changed?
in like Maokai, I think they might as well FF the game. I don't think they're gonna win. Not gonna.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm going to have a bit of fun, right? Because before we move on to talking about perhaps the final and the third place match and then relegations, we can talk about the team that unfortunately finished bottom of the Challenger Series standings, but had quite an interesting showing, I think, in the final week. Again, I wasn't actually here, so I don't know what the exact comp was, but there was like a Teemo. We're talking about Mouse Sports, obviously, if you didn't guess. Gilius, can you remind us of those games? Maybe give us a little recap of what went down in Gamers 2 versus Mouse.
So the first game, our ADC, he is in Denmark right now. The rest is in Spain, and he didn't patch the client in time. And
Doing a
then-
Zora Zero, nice.
well, he tried patching it for 3 hours, but it just didn't work. And then we needed to use our Diamond 5 manager, who didn't even like play a game since weeks, as a support, and Hiva played ADC.
Did he bring out the famous AD fiddlesticks or?
Yeah, no.
6.
But yeah,
About
that like everyone was already really pissed when the game started, and if everyone is already tilted, then obviously you're gonna lose. So we lost the first game. The second game we were with a full roster, but I had the feeling that nobody was really motivated going into that game, and nobody really respected them, and our draft was pretty shit. So that's why we lost. Yeah.
What can you remind us what champions they were playing in that final game?
They played Varus Zyra bot lane, mid lane Timo, top lane Zac, and Sion jungle.
Really? Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
And their picks were like, how do I say it? If you underestimate them super hard and don't take the game serious, you will lose, you know? But yeah, we didn't really expect to lose. And then we almost, we won a team fight. And then
Oh
we
yeah,
ran,
I saw. Yeah, the Timo
yeah,
triple kill.
and
Yeah.
then we ran into their base, and then
Oh
there
yeah.
was a fucking stealth Timo, and we all died. And the death timer was like 75 seconds, and we didn't expect that, so we just lost.
Yeah, that was probably
Yeah.
one of my favorite moments in League of Legends esports, watching that Timo Shroom go off.
But
So Pure Effect has cemented himself in
Well,
league
okay,
history.
if we
that
want-
second game was actually like important for us to get the higher seeds.
the second seed,
Yeah.
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 Well, all that means, right, is that you guys will play now on purple side first rather than blue, right?
Yeah, 2 purple side games. So.
Okay, so it's
We don't
not
know
a,
yet.
it's not a
We don't know
huge
yet.
deal, but it's quite a big deal. I
They will
suppose.
announce it one day before the game starts. What side they play?
Well, I assume since they got high, they'll get blue.
Yeah.
Or they get the choice at least. They might choose purple, of course. You know, you got the famous purple strats. Can't remember who said that. Actually, Choust, I think CLG. They planned only for purple side, guys. But right, talking seriously about mouse sports, obviously it won't be a long topic because I mean, seriously, in mouse sports, this lineup. I mean, I'm just having a joke, but they actually have. Well, okay, if we want to go down their lineup, first, obviously, Zaxxas in the top lane, a fairly respected top laner, at least, from what I know. You know, he did play in Roccat. He wasn't shit. He wasn't complete shit. You know, he was okay.
It was in the first split.
Well, all I'm saying is that Zaxxas is like you don't expect him to be going 2-8 or what probably should have been 0-8 in the Challenger Series, right?
Well, did he get Renekton?
Right. And then there's Robin in the jungle. Admittedly, not someone I know a lot about. In fact, the rest of the lineup is not some people I know a lot about. Soz Purefect in mid lane, which I'm sure Sencux can talk about. Soz Purefect, maybe. I think we talked about him. I think we talked
Yeah,
about
we
Soz
did.
Purefect in our
We did.
episode of Challenger Chat, as I remember you didn't have some fantastic words to say.
What? I didn't flame. What?
Did you flame?
No, I didn't.
Oh, what do you think about Soz Purefect then? Honestly.
What?
It's the
I
final
didn't
ever
flame
episode.
because now I have to flame now.
It's the final episode, be honest.
He played as I expected, like nothing. How do you say it? Like he didn't play better than I expected, or worse than I expected. Like, and he didn't. It's not like he played bad, but it's just like standard.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
he's not one of the mid laners you would say, and this is going to sound really harsh actually, but you wouldn't say he's one of the mid laners that has a future as an LCS mid laner.
Of course, he can have a future if he practice hard. Like everybody has a future if they just want. Like if they want to get into LCS, you just have to practice.
Well, in Europe, with the European mid laners that we have.
Yeah, of
Of
course.
course.
If you practice,
Oh
like
yeah.
Wow,
I-
interesting.
if you play 12 hours a day, of course you're gonna get better.
There's not a single EU mid laner in the LCS playoffs right now that has ever been in the playoffs before. Like EU mid lane like grows every year. Like it's insane. All the EU mid laners are legends, and now all of the ones that are in the current playoffs of the EUCS, they've never actually been in the playoffs of the EUCS before. It's insane.
Well, one of them is Ryu, so you know. You're trying to make a case for all these youngsters coming up.
Well,
and
Okay,
taking
Ryu
but
is
place.
the only one.
One of them is Ryu, who was
Okay,
at one
but
point the
Featherstone
second
and
best
Fox.
player in the world.
Like Featherstone probably has more hours on individual champions than most of us do, like in the League of Legends client. Like,
Oh yeah, he played so much last season. It was fucking insane. He had like
Yeah.
3 accounts with like 800 games each, something.
No,
like,
no,
I don't
no,
know.
no, not that much. He played as much as we did, but effectively with like winning. Like he
Yeah,
just
yeah. He won. He like
Yeah.
he was the best solo queue mid laner,
He
but he
played
still
as much.
played a
He
lot.
just won more. So
He just he played, but he played as much as I did. But I had 1 account and he had 5. So
Yeah, but
and he was higher with all 5 accounts.
he was
So,
the best like solo queue mid laner.
Yeah, he was.
Better,
So
better than
Forbidden is the real deal from Challenger. And what the question now remains is there anyone from Mouse Sports who looks like they could be the real deal from Mouse Sports as of right now?
I wanted to say something to Source Perfect. I think he improved a lot actually. When I watched the expansion tournament, he was pretty bad back then when they played
Yeah,
with
that's true.
H2K. He was playing kind of scared, you know. He respected Fabian too much. But
I think that was Slanders as well, kind of.
yeah, of course. And now he actually became better. And he told me that he finished his university like 2 weeks ago, so he's gonna play a lot now, and I think if
Okay.
he spams games, he can of course get into the LCS.
So you'd say the player from Mouse Sports to watch out for in the future would be Sos Perfect.
Robin
I
maybe
think
too.
Robin as well. Yeah, I think Robin is
Why
But
Robin?
good.
he has really good mechanics, Robin, but no clue how to play the game.
Mm.
Oh wow, wow,
No.
wow.
Sorry. No.
I mean,
I put this wrong. Like,
You mean no competitive?
There's nothing you can say
yeah.
now. We're gonna edit out everything you try and say now and just leave it with the he
Uh,
is doesn't
like,
have.
I agree.
somebody teaches him how to play jungle competitively, it's really
Yeah.
different from solo queue. Then he will become a good player really fast.
Go on,
watching
vet.
him,
I can see you, veteran. Go on.
watching him like initiate is like it's sort of like watching Young Buck but with really good mechanics. Like he's fully aware of the team and of who he has to be zoning, etc. But he's completely forgotten where the rest of his team is. Like they're all the way over there. They're
Oh,
like
that sounds
they're in
like
my
that.
neighbor's house, and he's like over here on the Jinx or something.
That's what I tried to teach Ram for some weeks, but it didn't.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of the famous engage in the first week in bot lane, I believe, and Ram just kind of dove in 1v4, and
yeah,
everyone else was
Game
sat
of
behind
two.
the tunnel. And then after the game, he kind of said to me, "No, they told me to go in, and then didn't follow."
Wait,
Oh,
what
that's
game do
as
you mean?
always, man.
Game 1, first ever game of the Challenger Series, I think.
I
don't-
remember this
It was worse. It
beautifully.
was worse versus Game of Two when I was like 9-1 Victor, and we were in that jungle. The game was basically won, and apparently we chose to engage, and I was like, just take the fucking tower.
Superman, broken shot.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Was that there was a beautiful VOD where he did this level 2 Jarvan gank in the qualifiers for CS. He just straight up tower died top lane level 2.
Oh yeah. He-
Alright, I feel like
he
this
EQs
is
the
now
muzzle
just
in
gonna
on
be
the
a
tower.
It was absolutely
Nah, this
beautiful.
was actually hilarious. He EQs on the tower, and he misses the combo, and he flashes too late or something. So like he takes too many tower shots and
Yeah,
dies
yeah.
of two,
You know what's
and
funny?
then he goes bot and dies again.
You know what's funny here, right? Is that I get the impression that that Veteran and Sencux are both quite good friends with Broken Shard,
Yeah,
and yet someone also joining us on the show, we know from past exchanges on Twitter, shall we say, is not the best friend.
Ah.
Is staying silent on the Broken Shard matter.
Oh, is your
So-
Twitter back up?
Well, I was like, oh, Veteran, calm down. It's getting tasty in here. No respect, you two, for Broken Shard.
It's banter,
Gilius,
don't
well
worry.
done, Gilius. But anyway, we're going to move on and we're going to look at. Okay, so we've said we've predicted somewhat that we're going to see Origin versus Gamers 2 in the final match to decide who goes through to that automatic promotion spot. Is that a best of 3 or a best of 5? Does anyone?
5
It's a best of 5. Okay, now
on
obviously.
LAN.
Yes, online. I know that part. But we can't really ask Gilius and Veteran. We kind of can, but we kind of can't. We'll get mixed answers. They'll both be hiding stuff. So we're going to bring it over to Sencux here, who definitely won't be there, as we've gathered.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
On who you think, assuming that series does happen, which is expected, on how you think that's going to go.
Which match? Wait, what? Okay.
Gamers 2 versus Origin, if it happens.
And it's the best out of 5.
Yes, on LAN as
Holy
well.
moly. Oh yeah, that's true. It's on LAN. Can I just give like I think it's gonna go 3-1 to Origin.
Okay.
I think
3-1?
I think it's better for them to be on LAN. Honestly, I think they have more experience there.
Do we get any analysis of that, or are you just gonna do what everyone else
I
does?
don't know what to say. Like they.
I mean, experience
What
is
do you
a big
mean you
part.
don't know what to say, Sencux? You are an almost professional League of Legends player. I'm sure you can have
Yeah,
something
but I'm
to
not
say.
professional because I'm obviously not even allowed to play playoffs. So thank you, Riot Games. I love you.
Well, you're
Okay,
never
what
gonna-
about the matchups? What
Okay,
about
the matchup. Are we
matchups?
gonna go from top and down?
Yeah.
Okay,
If,
Smitty
assuming
J
we
versus
see
Soas.
top.
Yeah,
is the
Smitty J
roster.
versus Soas. I think that's like the lane that Gamers 2 might have a slight chance of like winning 1v1. I don't know. I think Source has performed solidly as well. So like I don't know, but Smitty J has been really good. And jungle is like amazing versus Gilius.
Hmm.
So
You two can jump in as well if you want, Gilius and Veteran. If you want to defend yourself from the onslaught that you're about to receive from Sencux.
I think he's being fair so far. Go on.
Go
yeah,
on.
and like so Gilius versus Amazing. Amazing, I got a lot of hype for like being top 4 or 5 jungler in the EU right now, and he's playing good, but I still think Gilius can like outperform him. Like just because
Wow.
he's top 4 and 5, it's not like he's not able to get out jungle by a challenge jungler. I'm not saying.
I do have to
But-
step in and say I think both Gilius and Amazing, definitely at the start of the Challenger split, were probably top 3 junglers in Europe in general, to be honest, actually.
In the whole Europe,
The
Yeah.
whole of Europe. Even Gilius
Whoa.
is sat there
Yeah,
like,
I actually
shit,
think-
what
I
the
actually
fuck?
rate- at the start,
Whoa.
I actually rated Gilius that high because I was not as convinced by like Yankos as a lot of people were.
So you must have had Svenskeren first, right?
but like
Well,
what about
Svenskerin's always
Svenskeren?
first.
So you
Rainbow.
had
Svenskerin's
Svenskeren,
always
you had
first on my
Svenskeren,
list.
then Amazing, and then Gilius.
Gilius's pathing was just better than a lot of other junglers, to be honest.
What about like,
This is my
Kiki?
shocked
Good
face.
as
Like,
well,
what
like-
the hell?
Yeah, I'm praising Gilius, I know, but like he was kind of really impressing me a lot. At least at the start. Like right now, I'd still put him top 5.
God damn, Veteran, you're such a kiss ass, man.
Well, I'd still put him. I would put him top 5. I would actually put Gilius top 5.
Okay. Okay.
I'd still
Anyway.
put Amazing top 3. But yeah.
But yeah, I
Well-
don't think that this difference is that big of the jungle. Maybe Amazing is a bit more consistently solid
Yeah.
because his team is also like their team plays the best in the league. So
I didn't expect that because I actually respect Amazing, like as the best jungler in Europe right now.
that's
The best
best.
jungler in the whole of Europe.
Yes, definitely.
Better
He's
than
really fucking good.
better than Sven, Reino.
Yes, of course. Reignover.
Reignover is
Don't
not.
even compare Reignover.
I just named the first two, the literally top two.
But
So-
Reignover is doing
It's
well.
after
Like
Sven, who do you name?
No, you got to realize I've been away for 2 weeks, guys. When I was gone, Fnatic was still shitting on people
but that's
without
a-
any issues.
But that's really the thing when it comes to junglers in Europe. Like after Sven, who do you name? Because Yankos was really good when like
Kikis, no?
Kikis might. I mean,
Kikis is good.
he is good. Yeah, he is really good.
I
like
think
yeah,
he's
I guess
really good,
I guess I'd put him up there. Yeah.
like people
But,
are
like-
saying like it's all about Power Feeble. Honestly, I think Kikis is doing a
No.
great job so far.
Well, it's actually about Power of Evil, but all about Power of Evil.
Yeah, but it's not
If you think
all
about
about Power Feeble. Like
Yeah, Kikis is doing good. Yeah.
What a great argument that was. It's all about Power of Evil. No, it's not about Power of
It's
Evil.
Diamond.
It's all about Power of Evil.
And
Well,
then,
yeah.
but I'd put like Diamond Procs above Kickers.
Oh
I
yeah,
forgot
Diamond.
about Diamond
Yeah,
Procs.
yeah,
Like,
that's true,
I
yeah.
think everyone forgot about Diamond Procs.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on, right? So,
And I could put Amazing there, like comfortably.
Veteran, I'm
Wait.
moving on. Okay.
Well,
Don't fuck with
Sit
me.
down, mate. It's fucking down on the chair.
No, I'm moving on to a segue, right? Because like you said, you were just talking about Kikis and Power of Evil working together. So obviously, it does a lot of the time come down to the jungle and mid working together, their synergy and whatnot. And I think we're getting to the position where gamers 2 are most vastly outmatched, if I were to say it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
And I know Ike's me and Ike have had issues in the past, but I do think he's a good mid laner. I just don't think I think that in Gamers 2, he is the weakest link when put up against Origin because
He's
of
basically
obviously
what-
X-Becker.
Our coach would say to take the grenade, like just sit there and farm most of the time, and then the other lanes try to get ahead and play. I don't know.
Okay, and
Yeah, I agree with you. Like XPK is outmatching Ica.
well, what do you think, Gilius? Because obviously you're working with Ica. You obviously have to you and Ica are the jungle mid combo. What do you think of your chances going up against, without revealing anything, obviously, against Amazing
so-
and Peke, two vastly experienced players?
Online, I think Ica can be on the same level with Peke, but I sadly never really played with Ica on an important LAN match. It was only in Barcelona, and I can't really take that
No,
serious
no.
because like we had no warm up, we had
Yeah.
cold hands, it was just bad. But yeah, they played with the same, Origin, but yeah, they were like how should I say it? Just forget about this match, okay? I never played with Ica in an important match, and maybe he can surprise everyone and be better than Peke. But yeah, we will see. But Peke is really fucking good.
Okay. Veteran, any thought on the Xpeke Ica matchup, or are you just going to agree with these two? I think.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'll just agree. I can't really add anything other than like a bit more praise onto Peke for being like the only one of the old gods of the EU mid lane who's actually standing the test of time. But that's
Yeah,
because
well, there's a difference from
Well,
challenge.
yeah, exactly.
I know. Yeah, like I'll be interested to see, I guess. But
And
I
there's a
think he'll still
difference
hold
when
up.
your jungler is amazing or your jungler is shook as well.
The
I think.
difference is that Peke's playstyle throughout the early seasons is a playstyle that seems like it should have like only really started developing in season 4 and now to here. Like it was all like he's getting more in meta, whereas people like Froggen are going out of meta.
Yeah, well,
Like,
Frog
that's the
might
thing.
come back now with all the shit coming back, all the tanks. We see 6 again.
Maybe, but the playstyle that Peke has is better than like there was like a Summoning Insight episode where Froggen was saying how he couldn't understand what High was doing, leaving like 20 CS worth of XP and gold to go top and get a kill that wouldn't give him his words literally that wouldn't give him half as much XP or anywhere near as much gold. How do I play against that? How do you play against that? That was literally what he was saying.
Well, then his mindset is either I carry or we lose.
Yeah, but Peke
Because-
Peke can both carry and understand
Yeah,
that you have
I agree.
like the whole roaming aspect of it that people like Froggen literally can't seem to get their head around, and that's why people like Froggen get left behind. Whereas Peke's just he's carried on. He's carried on.
Thorin's going to have a field day if he finds this VOD somewhere in the future. Veteran,
Yeah?
he's bringing the hammer down on you.
That's fine because his guy isn't even playoffs now. Like I
Whoa!
Whoa. No, but yeah, valid. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. Criticisms.
Froggen,
Criticisms.
I always want to say I'll always have respect for Froggen, and he used to be like my favorite mid laner for ages. And I think he was when he was in his prime, he was the best mid laner potentially in the world. Like I'll never
Yeah.
take that away from him. I'll
When?
never
When?
take that away. Season 2.
He was the best.
Yeah, he was the best back then. But
I can't
yeah,
remember
I
who was
agree,
who
he's
playing.
like
It would be out of him
all
and
time
Rapid
top.
Star back then.
Oh
That's-
yeah, Rapid Star. That's the one. Not Toys.
Toys was well, Stanley was the real reason that they won the whole tournament. To be
I-
honest.
You know what? For a second I thought we were doing a show about the European Challenger Series playoffs. And then I just realised we were talking
I
about
just want to
season
say
2
I'm
mid
not, I'm
laners.
not shitting on Froggen or anything with that statement. I still respect the guy.
And now we'll get back to Gamers 2 after talking about Froggen, shall we?
Oh, going to AD.
We're going. We'll include the bot lane together,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Because we have obviously Jebus. Is it Jebus or Jebus or Yebus? Jebus,
Doesn't matter.
right?
But Jeebus sounds better.
Yebus, if
I
it's
got that
not-
one.
Is that a Simpsons reference?
What the fuck? How does that even make any sense?
Okay, don't worry then.
Nah,
Someone
you-
might get it in the VOD that feels like a Simpsons reference. But and Heaver, the support player, up against Niels and Mithy. Sencux, obviously you are the unbiased one. You are the star 'cause you're unbiased. You got to get the discussion rolling here.
I think I said this before. Like Kiva and Jeebus can win lane, but I feel like Nils is too good late game for. Like so much better than Jeebus late game in his positioning. So yeah, not much to say.
That's it.
Yeah,
You say Niels late game is
I
just
say
too much.
they can win lane, but like Mithy is really solid as well, really good. So I don't know, but Nils is gonna outperform late game, I think.
And Gilius, your turn to defend your teammates' honor. Fight
Mm.
back.
I think they are on an even level online, but the players that have the better nerves in the important match will play better, I think.
And obviously Niels, being the youngster of the team, does he even have that much offline experience? I
yeah,
know he
I-
has
I-
been
oh,
to
yeah,
a
it does
couple
that.
of lands.
Yeah. Yeah, I've played against him and land on sometimes. Sometimes he can choke a bit, but like I don't think it's gonna be a problem with that strong team. I've only seen him on like mixed teams.
Okay. And finally, to you, veteran, to
Yeah.
hammer in the point home that
Well, I'm not
every
going to take like land jitters into account. I guess I haven't really factored that in, but I feel like Nils is more consistent overall. So yeah, that's all I'm going to throw in there.
It's a pretty easy bot lane outcome then. But we'll go to this hypothetical game. What we think the outcome will be. Sencux, you said 3-1. if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Veteran, what are you calling? If this matchup happens,
This is this utter hypothetical. Are we going to do the same for
well,
LLL?
it's not like a complete
It could go
hypothetical.
3-0 as well. Like,
It's
There
the
are some
most
people I've talked to
likely.
who actually think that LLL will end up winning.
Oh,
So like,
by the
it's not.
Sencux.
Wow,
What I have to.
It's
My
not as
pants
clear
is going
cut as
off
you
my
think.
ass, man.
I don't want to call it, but we don't intend to lose it for definite. But I respect gamers too, and I think Soldier will probably surprise us with something for definite. Like I have a lot of respect for the guy.
Oh yeah, that's not something we factored in. Of course, Gamers
Yeah.
2's new coach, Soldier, formerly
know-
of Gravity Gaming.
He knows what he's doing for definite.
What did Saint Vicious call him? What did Saint Vicious say about him? I can't remember.
Fuck Saint
There
Vicious.
was some beef between Saint Vicious and.
He didn't respect him. St. Vicious didn't respect him. Well, St. Vicious is like 6 years older than him, so.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna respect anyone
Yeah, of course not.
unless it's his own dad or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they should get him in as coach. Old Papa Saint Vicious.
St. Vicious would be a beast as a coach, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
actually,
he
I
would.
agree. Military training, fuck yeah, he'd be great.
As I
Shut the
understand it,
fuck
he's
up,
definitely.
man.
As I understand it, he's definitely like in control of the house there, and I don't think he enjoys the idea of levying control elsewhere. I think LS works so well because he's not even in the house all the time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And the final hypothetical matchup that seems most likely to occur if all results pan out as expected will be the former Lowland Lions versus Reason Gaming. Obviously, that is the expected match that will be happening. Any thoughts on that game, guys? Someone? Anyone?
Okay.
LLL versus Reason.
Yes.
LLL win.
Yeah.
Lowland Lions will 2-0 them.
Yeah.
Really? It's interesting considering how early you said that it would be a very quick win for you guys against.
Yeah, I
Do
think
you think there's a very clear gap between
a really big gap.
you two, Gamers 2 and Origin and everyone else?
Yeah, I think so.
Obviously, Dig EU kind of stuck in a bit of a limbo because
Just because of the amount of practice OG and we put in, and the other teams don't are not in a gaming house or something. So
No, I agree. Like Gamers 2 and Origin's team play is so much better than any other team in the Coke League. So
which makes it interesting because only one of those teams can obviously grab the automatic promotion spot, and the others, as we come towards the final topic of the show, the others will be forced to face off in the relegation tournament. And we now know who's going to be playing in the relegation tournament from the LCS, and that is Giants and Roccat. Assuming what we've gone through, obviously we've hypothetically filled out this bracket. Yeah, MYM out. Rest in peace, MYM. Although I'm sure their players are not all out of the LCS. I'm feeling we'll see a couple of them next season, depending on what happens.
Probably Corey and probably.
okay. I actually looked at this. Where do you want Corey to face in what team? Like if you look, I actually looked at this because I was
Okay,
talking
well
with
we can
Perk
talk about MYM. We can talk about
Okay,
MYM
okay,
for a
but
while.
Corey, if you look at every mid lane in the LCS, just a sec, let me get it up here. Like, there's no one that wanna drop out their mid laner right now. Like, except for maybe one team, and that's Gambit.
Yeah,
He could
go
like,
to
yeah,
NA.
I've heard
He
things
could go to
about
NA.
it.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
could go to NA. He could go to NA, but like, okay, we start from the top. Like SK, not gonna drop Fox. Fnatic, not gonna drop Vivian. H2K, they are not gonna drop Real. Like Unicorns Fluff, coming Wolves. They are not gonna drop their mid laner because it's like
Actually,
almost the carrier of their team.
Well,
the
obviously,
only team that he might join in EU should be Gambit.
yeah, obviously Gambit have the decision to make about who if they're gonna stick with Betsy. I don't see them sticking with Betsy.
Well,
Yeah, I've
it
heard
depends.
things about that camp and like who they might have lined up for it.
Well,
I
the
don't know.
big rumor
Yeah, I
that has
heard,
no
I heard some
base.
shit as well.
is the big rumor is that Incarnation's gonna be
he will
Oh,
be in a team 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
one team.
he's pretty good though.
Gambit. He
So-
always wanted to play with Diamond.
Well,
He said that.
if anyone's interested, the even bigger rumor, I'm sure you probably heard
He's
actually.
actually pretty good friends with Chris Opinoy. He's
The
called.
even bigger rumor about Gambit is that they would pick up what is it, Incarnation and Forgiven, who's having problems in SK.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
the rumor that was ran by me a couple of weeks ago actually. Sorry.
They will kill each other after
Oh.
1 month.
Exactly. That's what I heard. But
Yeah, and Vega is making Dream Team in China.
Oh
well,
my god.
Well,
Can't
you never
imagine
know.
Ghost of Pepper playing with Forgiven.
Please, anyone watching, please don't take that as a fact. That was a rumor that was run by me like a week ago by one guy.
That's a rumor, though. Holy shit.
That's not true.
Yeah.
No way.
I agree.
Oh,
but
I kind of wanted to
incarnation
disagree with that.
alone is a possibility that has actually.
Yeah,
been
I could
legitimate.
see
Yeah.
maybe
I
why
can see it, yeah.
explanation was-
He said in the past, like I think on his Ask FM or something, that like the jungler he always wanted to play with was Diamond
Yeah.
because Diamond will actually ward your lane and
Yeah,
like, for
Diamond,
free
yeah.
and all this stuff. He doesn't have to worry about that shit.
It stopped in for Gambit once or
And they
twice.
played.
Like, it's actually really nice to play with Diamond as a mid laner.
They actually played ranked 5s with Incarnation.
Well, ranked fives, Gilius. Come on. Don't be one of those guys.
Sorry.
They're like a Reddit detective. They were playing fives.
They were tryharding.
Are actually right a fair amount of time.
Incarnation with Gambit, and they were tryharding.
I hate the Reddit detectives. They put me out of a job almost. But
Damn.
I made
damn
it through.
good.
okay, so MYM and about what they're going to do now that they're actually officially challenger. Obviously, we spoke about Corey before and potentially his possibility of Gambit is maybe an option. North America might be an option. But we can talk about the rest of the team briefly, I suppose, and we can start from the top, which is JWoww, obviously joined mid-season for Mima, who I have no idea is some sort of coach now. If he actually does any coaching is questionable. But do we see JWoww finding somewhere to land?
I don't think so, because the top laners in EU are really strong right now, actually. Like, everyone is just really good. And Chavo is like average, so I don't think he has a place in EU.
Okay, North America maybe.
But maybe if he trains
Maybe
hard,
you're not familiar with the North
he-
American scene, but
if he trains hard, he can of course get in. But I don't think he's that motivated.
No, he was in Gamers too, but I think he got motivated when he got back on Meet Your Megas.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
vibe I got as well. I heard one of the reasons that he was initially removed from Gamers 2 was that he spent more time playing Counter Strike than League. of
Yeah, and then him and Ku's relationship was.
So, okay, well, their jungler. Wait, Horo, of course. How did I almost forget Horo? He's kind of an interesting position now because everyone knows that Horo is a very, very talented player. But well,
R.I.P. Benji.
does he have a place to find in Europe, or is he back to Korea forever? Like,
Maybe I think from what I hear he'd prefer to be back in Korea. But
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
I think from the skill wise, he can play in EU. But why would you get an average jungler if he even has a language barrier? Like, that's my logic, but
I think as well after dealing with the shit that MYM will put through, why would you want to stay in Europe?
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
hear
it's
he didn't like it.
You can probably
Yeah.
land. He can probably land a spot in like a mid-tier.
Soon his
Korean
mom
team.
house is under like control of Meet Your Megas or something. Like they are big, sorry.
Wow. God, I remember when that happened. That was one of my favorite days ever.
it's,
Mr. Rallis, going down the list. Now,
Ooh.
Mr. Rallis is an interesting case because there's split before the one that just happened. I would personally have put Mr. Rallis in the top 3 AD carries in Europe or so, maybe top 2 even. It was probably, well, Forgiven wasn't playing, so we couldn't include him. But then there was, you'd say probably Reckless, Tabs at the top, and then maybe Mr. Rallis floating around just after them. But this season he seems to have fallen off quite dramatically. What do you think of Mr. Rallis? What's happened to him?
lost motivation because of this orc and team.
Yeah,
You think
I
that's
heard.
it?
Nah, I have insider information actually.
Drop it.
Oh.
I heard he had some real attitude problems, and
Really?
yeah, like he didn't say much, and then he just went like kind of emo mode and stuff. That's what
But-
I've heard.
As you can see in the last matches MYM played, he played pretty fucking good. The last 3-4 matches with Noxiak,
Yeah.
when he finally had a good support, he did good.
Whoa, flame.
It's true. What?
Nah, I don't agree.
Well,
It's not for fun. Nisbeth got hyped up by Mithy.
Nesbeth is
Nisbeth.
Nisbeth is good.
That
not
was an
good enough.
interesting pickup, obviously.
Not good enough.
Like,
But we don't talk about Nisbeth anymore. He never happened. They have a new support player now.
who says?
Huh?
What? I'm not
What?
saying more. I'm
Players
sure.
do big up their friends, to be fair.
I'm not saying more.
Anyway.
Like, if we were to believe Forgiven, Unlimited was like the best support of spring split season. So like, I take player recommendations with a pinch of salt. To be honest.
regardless, right? And supports this season in the LCS seem to have had an absolutely huge impact. Kasing being one to H2K, and then the second big one being Noxiac to MYM. Although I feel like that was timed at the right. So everyone, it kind of seems to look like Noxiac was the big change in that
I
team.
think Corey stepped up a lot.
But yeah, I was going to say I think that just coincided with more changes within the team.
But
What
that's
do you
the
guys?
same. That's the same for Kazing to H2K.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah, but
it was
Kasing
not
is
like
short
Kazing.
call.
Well, I don't think it was like yeah. They probably enjoyed playing with him a lot because he's a like positive guy and like a nice guy, you know.
Well,
And
the
he's,
argument
like,
with
motivated.
Kasing,
Yeah,
the argument
I
with
think that goes
Kasing
a
was
long way,
that
though.
the argument with Kasing was that he added a lot of shot calling to the team as well.
Yeah.
I
Like,
feel
don't-
like these two teams got from their supports what Elements wanted with Crepo. I feel like
Yeah.
Kasing
Expand.
managed to fulfill that. Well, I mean, a really healthy mindset is really good for a team first. And if the shot calling thing is true and Kasing was being an element of that, then
Well, you don't have to
well,
ask if it's true. You can look at the mic checks and stuff. I don't know if he does
That's-
strategic
that's
shot
true.
calling, but I know in the fights specifically, he is
no, that
very
is
much involved in calling targets at least.
yeah, he
Well,
is.
calling targets is not really important though.
Well,
like who does it?
It can,
yeah, well,
Yeah,
it can
it
be
is
if there was no one doing it before.
it is important, but
Yeah, I agree with
shot
I know.
calling like objectives and
Yeah.
rotations is much more
But
important.
I know Ray, and I know he's a shot caller, and he's gorgeous. So
I don't want to talk
Did you
like
say he's gorgeous?
what? I said
What?
I said he's a short caller by like culture, instinct,
Oh,
whatever.
by culture. I thought you said he's
Yeah.
the shot caller and he's gorgeous. So
What the
I
fuck?
was like, okay.
I love you, Ray, but not that much. I'm sorry.
But anyway, back to the point. We'll get back to the point because time is dragging. Noxiac, do we think he has a place back in the LCS on any team?
maybe because a healthy mindset goes a long way. And like I don't want to talk too much trash, but like if Voidal having like a toxic influence over the rest of his team, probably brought H2K down a few more notches than they otherwise should have been, and picking up someone like Kasing can go a long way for your team if you're having a type of issue. I think Elements wanted something like that with Crepo. They wanted direction more than anything, and you hear from the mic checks that Crepo is making these calls, and like I remember there was one where he was telling Reckless like that he had the Morgana spell shield on him, and Reckless still like burned everything to get away, even though he had it on him the entire time. Even though Reckless acknowledged it, like it felt a lot like maybe Crepo was trying to give them this direction, they just still weren't following up. Whereas when it comes to people like Kasing, like the willingness was always there, but maybe it had some sort of toxic element that was.
We're talking about Noxiac, man.
So I feel like if Noxiac was having the same thing as Kasing, then yeah, Noxiac could
Okay.
find a place on another team that maybe
Okay.
has similar problems.
These ramblings, they're like Thorin-esque, you know, just going way, way, way off
He's
topic.
my idol. I have a coat right there just in case, you know.
You're
Like,
going to turn your heating off. You can afford heating. Well done. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's MYM covered, right? We seem to be in agreement that they're all fairly decent, but there is one player who is more outstanding than the rest, at least in Europe. Obviously, Horror, bit of a tricky subject, but Corey is the one to watch. Out of the ashes flies the Corey Phoenix. I don't know, that sounded really, really lame. I shouldn't have said that. But I'll take your coat off, man. In the relegation tournament, as we come to an end, it's going to be Rocket and Giants, and I mentioned this about, I don't know, it must have been half an hour ago now, but I have kept track of this imaginary bracket that we made, and if it were to follow this path, which I think it should, we would end up with the matches of, well, actually it depends, would gamers to, who gets to pick? The LCS teams
Rocket-
get to pick,
Rocket
right?
gets
So
to pick,
Rocket
yeah.
would pick
Lowland
Lowland Lions,
Yeah.
and Giants would be stuck with Gamers 2. So I guess we can talk briefly. Obviously, we know these games are maybe not going to happen. I feel like they probably will. But we can briefly talk about how at least these teams would do in the relegation tournament without specifically mentioning the matches, the teams from the challenger they would face. So I guess we'll come to Giants first. Do you think they have a chance of regaining their qualification? Obviously, they showed against MYM. They can at least step it up when it counts.
I personally think either like Origen and we will get into the LCS this season. Like I'm pretty sure. So Giants will lose.
Okay.
And about the match, Lowland Lions versus Rocket. Actually, Rocket looks pretty weak right now. So
Hmm.
Especially if
Lowland
you
Lions,
consider-
Sad.
If you
If
consider
Lowland
that
wins-
top lane matchup as well of Morsu versus Overpower, that could
Yeah.
very much go in Morsu's favour. And as we know, Morsu is a big fan of carrying games when things go in
Yeah.
his favour.
Nuke should normally like solo carry that game, but maybe they underestimate them. And yeah, who knows?
They keep
Yes.
taking top priority even when the win conditions are blatantly get Nuke Duck overfed and make him hard carry. Like yesterday, they had the Ari picks
When
away
you
from
say
them.
yesterday, veteran, remember we're not broadcasting it on the day that it's recorded, so that would be Friday, on Friday.
When they had Ari picked away from them, when they were obviously going to pick it with the Nidalee, they then got LeBlanc, which should piss all over Ari, and then blatantly now they just have to get Nuke Duck fed, and then they'll be able to save their composition somewhat, and they didn't do that. They just went top and camped Overpower again for the whole game, and meanwhile Nuke Duck is just like 0-1-0 coming out of the laning phase of like average CS with like no help, and there's a struggle there. I think like they wanted to keep the central power of like the Overpower and Yanko's Geo that carried them all over in season 4.
Yeah.
But then they wanted to grab Nuke Duck, and Nuke Duck is always at his best when he's at his most comfortable. He's at his most comfortable, he's in complete control and telling Tabs to piss off. These 2 waves are his. Tabs, what are you doing in my lane? This is my wave now. Go back bot. There's like 3 minions I left there for you as penance. Like, and if you don't like give that level of control to Nuke Duck, I don't feel like he is the Nuke Duck that we know and love from season 3.
The Lemon Dog's Nuke Duck.
The Lemon Dog's Nuke Duck. Like as control was kind of delegated more to Miffy and NIP, he was having less and less of like an overall impact in his game. So it didn't matter because it's Challengers thing. Like you couldn't really see that. Like you could safely assume, I guess, from most people's perspective, that Nuke Duck was still Nuke Duck. And I think you can't have it both ways. You can't have a team where Overpower wants to be in control and where you should really be giving Nuke Duck in control. Otherwise, it's just you have 2 teams.
So would you say that? Sorry to interrupt, Sencux, but would you say that then Rocket were kind of doomed from the start? As soon as they made this happen,
I didn't understand swapping Overpower to top, to be honest.
As soon as that move happened, you thought they were doomed somewhat.
I didn't think they were doomed.
Because I think we have
I
Twitter
thought-
predictions that put them in,
Well, like,
in your top 3.
Even then you can just search my my Twitter stuff, and I was saying this stuff about I don't understand the Overpower lane swap. The guy was never a strong laner. I don't know why you'd put him in the top lane. His main thing was roaming while people broke records against him, and Woolite was not like he's not like comparable to like Forgiven in terms of pickups. I don't understand. Like I said all this basically when Foreign was making his video about how
Woolite did
Rocket won
have
the
a strong
offseason.
season on Copenhagen.
He did. He was good. I don't understand what's happened to him whenever he goes to LAN, because in scrims he's still quite good. He doesn't make the same errors that he does in the LCS. So like it's a bit of a sad tale. I think they have to either go all in on Nuke Duck or maybe swap Overpower back even. I think.
Even so, right? We're talking about Woolite, right? We're talking about Woolite in the bot lane of Rocket. They're going to be either facing Visility and Hybrid or Celiver and Libic. No matter how bad Woolite has performed, and I don't mean to be like offensive to these teams, but I think in both of those teams the bot lanes are the weaknesses. So can we see Woolite even performing at his worst that we've seen him all season, losing that lane to Celiver, Libic or Visility Hybrid, assuming it will come down to that.
The thing is, the relegation matches are like 7 weeks after the final of playoffs. So people can really improve a lot in 7 weeks. So Visility and Hybrid might be the best bot lane after 7 weeks. So you never know, you know?
True.
Anything can happen. 7 weeks is a lot of time.
But we'll get down to it, because obviously we're getting quite late on. We'll get down to what our actual predictions are. Gilius obviously says that he thinks both Gamers 2 and Origen will be making the LCS, whether it be automatic or winning against Giants. Veteran, what are you thinking? You agree?
I mean, yeah, there's an outside chance that LLL do it.
You really
if
think there's a
LLL
chance that Rocket drop out of the LCS?
Oh God.
Sencux is
they don't,
laughing.
they
I
don't
think
deserve
Sencux
to.
is like, no way, man.
Nah, I don't think
I don't
Rocket drop
see-
out of
I don't
LCS,
see
to be
that.
honest.
Sorry, I
No.
dropped something.
I don't see
I'll
Rocket
say it.
dropping out of LCS, but it's being a sad tale overall, and I don't know, maybe they'll surprise with the depths that they sink to. I'm worried about Roccat more than anything.
Imagine if they did get knocked out of the LCS, the free agents that would then be up for grabs. That would make for an interesting off season, I think.
It's the
Yeah.
paper perfect roster thing that doesn't really work out when you actually
But
put these
again,
people
then-
together.
Yeah,
They
but-
would have to work again.
Yeah, North America would have a field day. You know, they'd be like, "Wow, we got Nuke Duck here, we got Vander, Jankos."
They're still
yeah.
trying to place Alex Ich, though, aren't they?
Oh gosh.
Oh my lord.
Well,
Like,
Alex
Guy
Itch
died
actually.
years.
I guess this is Challenger Chat, so we can talk about him. But Alex Itch recently, I mean, you could say, okay, it was in the Challenger Series of North America, but he is tearing them a new one in the Challenger
I saw
Series
that.
in North
Wait,
America.
is he in the Challenger Series?
Yeah, he is just
Oh, yeah.
destroying everyone he comes up against.
Yeah.
So
Really?
yeah, he played against, I believe, recently it was CLG Black or something like that, or Team Solo Mid Darkness or something. So they're not great players, but he is just destroying them. Like,
I heard something from Trash, yeah, and yeah, it's NA Challenger Series, boys.
yeah, well, okay. So Sencux and Senk, you agree with Veteran, do you? As the final of the show, this is your final input to the show.
Wait,
Who do you
what's
think's
the-
being promoted?
Oh
Who's,
yeah,
who's
I think,
getting relegated?
like unless Pepinero gets insanely fit, then Gamers 2 is gonna win, and like I don't see a lot of winning in.
Or Origin, you never know. Gamers 2 could beat Origin in the best of 5.
Yes.
I got you back, Gilius, don't worry.
Thanks.
Well, that's us done then. We've talked about the Challenger Series for about, I think it's been about an hour and 10 minutes, which is pretty good length for a final episode. So I want to thank my guests for coming on, and you can all do your sponsor bullshit if you want. Quickly Google your team names now and find your sponsors.
No.
Sencux probably has a hoodie. Gilius, I don't know,
Yeah,
shout
yeah.
to us a lot and
See,
tell
I
him.
actually got all the sponsors right here.
You know what, Sencux?
Yeah,
I'll
see?
do this one for you as well. See,
Okay.
I can read out your sponsors if you want me to.
Oh yeah, but do you have one of these?
I have an old
Nah,
school
Hoodie is
one.
so
yeah.
cool, man.
A shirt? I actually do have a shirt, man.
I got this one, but I'm never gonna use it, so I don't know.
One
It looks
second.
pretty cool, though.
1 second, guys. I can make this happen. Oh no, I've lost the shirt. I don't know where it is. Damn. I thought I had a
fuck.
Dignitas shirt.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Anyway, right. We'll go to
I've
Gilius
got my
first. Gilius, you can give us your sponsor bullshit if you want. Go on.
Okay, first, thanks for having me here. It was a lot of fun. And just shout out to Gamers 2.
That's it. No sponsors.
No.
We better not show us a lot this, or he might give you a slap.
He has enough money.
Veteran. What are the Origin sponsors?
Okay. Shout outs to Ozone, Gaming TV, and Trig.
Oh God, Trig Esports. Okay, sorry. I
Shout
almost
outs to
went on a
Trig.
rant there, but I'll get past it.
Okay, I'm ready now.
And shout outs to all of our opponents in the challenger scene for.
I'm very humble of you.
Yeah. No. It was great. Like it was not like the utter stomp every game that like we thought it would be. That like
Well,
a lot of people thought that it would be.
It was a
Especially the
bit.
first games going in. Like a lot of the time, it was a bit of oh damn okay. They're not like that much of a pushover or anything like that. And then second day we generally stomp it.
Okay.
It's been a great scene overall.
Sencux, apart from your shout out to Riot, Nick Allen, whoever the European coordinator is that I'm sure you would love to give at the
Oh.
moment.
Yeah.
So I'll say it, I can say it for you. Shout out to Riot Oxy
So yeah, thank you.
for making your careers. Who else?
I don't know, like Intel, Twitch.
You
A
were
lot
just
of others,
fumbling
but-
around for so long.
I don't know who the fuck is on this shit. Alienware or something. I don't know.
Q-pad.
On Dignitas.
There's a lot on that shirt.
I don't even know what the fuck is on this shit, is what Sencux just said. I think he's going to get in a bit of trouble as well.
Oh, fuck. Odie, I love you, man. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Beautiful shirt.
I think it was an okay show. We trolled around in a little middle, but we got it done for a final episode.
Do this. This is actually sweat. Like holy.
I think 50% of the show is Veteran talking, but it's fine. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Veteran Sharp, I'm doing the outro, man. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a pleasure. Maybe one day Challenger Chat can make a return. If Riot starts giving a fuck about the Challenger scene, I'll start giving a fuck about the Challenger scene. Thanks for watching. Thanks for my guests, and have a good night, everyone.